The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs has finally ended its cruel experiments on dogs at its Richmond, Virginia lab. The White Coat Waste Project exposed this corruption operation back in 2016. The VA abused hundreds of beagles, hounds, and mixed breed dogs in chilling experiments. We'll spare you the cruel details. The White Coat Waste Project has spent the last 6 years publicly demanding they end taxpayer-funded experiments on dogs inside of government laboratories, and the day is finally here. Congresswoman Dina Titus said in part, there are many alternatives to animal testing that are both humane and yield better results so that we can save dogs, puppies, and taxpayer money. Let's welcome back Justin Goodman, the Senior Vice President of the White Coat Waste Project. Justin, this is good news. You look at those cute little faces and you can't imagine them being tortured.
This is a huge victory in the war on waste, and really the historical significance of it can't be overstated. When we started this campaign in 2016, there were over 200 dogs being tortured by the VA with our tax dollars every year. They were buying six-month-old puppies, injecting latex into their arteries to give them heart attacks, forcing them to run on treadmills, breeding Dobermans to have sleep disorders and injecting them with methamphetamines. Horrible stuff. We have records showing that they were buying dogs that they were noting in their records as friendly and shy, and then killing them in these experiments. And we were able to unite a diverse coalition of veterans organizations, taxpayer watchdog groups, Democrats and Republicans in Congress to take on the VA and say Americans don't want their tax dollars being wasted anymore to fund these horrible experiments on dogs that are unnecessary, outdated, and obviously inhumane. And we were able to score some historic firsts. We were able to rally Congress to pass the first ever legislation directing an agency to phase out the use of dogs, cats, and primates in experiments that happened with the VA. We passed the first state law in the country, in the state of Virginia, cutting funding permanently from what are called maximum pain experiments. And the reason we started our campaign, the reason White Coat launched its first campaign against the VA is because they were doing the most painful dog experiments in the country. They were putting dogs on treadmills and giving them heart attacks and completely withholding pain relief. We passed a law in the state of Virginia ensuring that no state tax dollars were wasted on that. And we got the National Academy of Sciences to do a review and that determined that most of the VA's dog testing was unnecessary. So there were a lot of historic moments in this campaign that we're very proud of over the last 6 years that took the VA's dog testing from the worst in the government to now non-existent in a matter of just a few years. And it was because we were able to unite liberty lovers and animal lovers to take on the federal government and say, no, we don't want our tax dollars wasted in this way.
It's really interesting to me, and I want to touch back on what you said, the report from the scientists saying that most of these largely are unnecessary. So why, Justin, do you think it was so hard and took such a long road to get this done? Why were certain scientists tied to these type of experiments that they say now are largely unnecessary?
Money. Taxpayers are footing the bill for $20 billion a year in animal testing, coming out of, being spent by the VA, the National Institutes of Health, people like Anthony Fauci, $20 billion a year. So there's a lot of people making a lot of money, living a cushy lifestyle off abusing dogs with taxpayer dollars. And these programs become entrenched because of that. And as we've seen with things like the Wuhan Institute of Virology and the NIH and Anthony Fauci, these people are not above abusing their authority and lying to the public about what they're doing in labs. And that's what we saw at the VA is they were insisting that the only way to help veterans was torturing dogs. Then yet you had veterans groups coming out saying that's not true. You had members of Congress coming out saying that's not true. Obviously, White Coat Waste was in that camp. And then we were able to get the National Academy of Sciences to spend 2 years studying what the VA was doing, and they determined that most of it was unnecessary and that the VA had actually done a very bad job at trying to move away from dog testing and had these circular arguments that kept allowing them to use dogs. They kept saying, well, we've always used dogs, so we're going to keep using dogs, which is how so many stupid government programs obviously perpetuate themselves.
Yeah, that's often the reasoning in government programs that just stick around forever and really have no reason to be there. You know, at the risk of sounding corny, Justin, I have to say thank you and White Coat Waste Project for being dogged about saving these puppies.
Thanks, Emerald. We'll take it. We're grateful for your support and your interest in, all of our work. And this was the prelude to Beaglegate. This report we released in 2016 that exposed the VA was actually the first report to expose Anthony Fauci's dog testing. So we've been on the trail for a long time. Pun intended. We've been on the trail for a long time, and we're proud of the progress we've made. And as always, are appreciative of your support.
Yeah. You know, Justin, if I had time and any more capacity in my life to take on another project, I would love to have a little beagle. Those are my favorite dogs. So I particularly love this win myself. Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Emerald.
All right, well, that does it for us today. As always, it's been a wonderful week here at The Absolute Truth. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. And we will see you back here on Monday for what is going to be a huge week with midterms and more absolute truth. See you then.